Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today we're going to be doing an update to my Evil Eye deck profile, and guys, let's check this out. I finally fully blinged out the deck. Yes, this was during our last TCG player rewards session back around, I think it was like Black Friday when you got like the whatever the percent bucks back. Yeah, I went ahead and bought the other two copies of the Starlight Gorgons that I needed. I think these cards are actually a pretty cool investment. I don't know if this deck is going to get much new support in the near future, but if it ever does, I could see these going up a little bit. Otherwise, I just absolutely love this. For those of you guys who don't know, this was the first Starlight, actually this copy right here in the blue sleeve, this was the first Starlight that I ever pulled, so it just means so much to me. But anyways, guys, we should probably get on into this profile. This is just going to be a really simple update. Just made a couple new changes with the ban list and how the meta and whatnot has been shaping up. But also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And hit the thumbs up button if you guys like this. And let me know down in the comments how you guys have been playing this. If you guys like this deck, what you guys have been playing around with. But anyways, we're playing 3 copies of Serzial. He is the basically the Alistair, the Invoker for the deck, because he is always the one that you're trying to see and normal summon on your turn 1. And then we basically have our own version of like Meltdown and all that stuff. So you basically always end up seeing him. So with the Serzial, while he's on the field, when he's normal summoned, you're able to search for any Evil Eye card from your deck to your hand, which is absolutely amazing. And then besides that, when he's equipped with the equip spell, the Evil Eye of Celine, then he gets a bonus effect where he's able to blow up a special summon monster on the field once per turn. And then also just another thing you guys have to keep in mind is that after you use any of these guys' effects where they're equipped with the Evil Eye of Celine, the equip spell, then they also have another effect that follows up during the next standby phase. So even during your opponent's standby phase and or your standby phase, whenever this is going on, he has an effect where he has to destroy one card that you control, which is a little bit of a problem sometimes, but as long as you have your field spell out on the field, you can just blow that up, and then if the field spell is destroyed, then you're able to get another Evil Eye monster back from your graveyard to your hand, which is really, really nice. We're going on then into the Medusa. Medusa is pretty good, but she's just a one-of, because when she's summoned, you're able to get a Evil Eye card from your graveyard and get it back to your hand. So it's really nice because we do have an equip spell. Along with the Evil Eye of Celine, there's another equip spell called the Evil Eye of Organelle, which allows us to increase the attack of the equipped monster by the difference of our opponent's life points to ours, as long as our opponent's life points are higher. So basically, if you end up top decking this and then you have a Organelle in the graveyard, you can always normal summon the Medusa, pick up that Organelle back and equip it. And if your life points are like way lower than your opponent's, sometimes you can just sneak games by pounding into something and going for game right there, which is really cool. She's also able to banish something from your opponent's graveyard with her effect when she's equipped. Then we have a Basilius, Familiar of the Evil Eye. This card is just a one-of for the deck because he can special summon himself to the field, and then when he's on the field, he's able to Foolish Burial any of your Evil Eye cards to the or a spell or trap to the graveyard, which is really nice because your 2 equipped spells are really, really great resources to pitch to the graveyard. Then we have a Catoblepas, the Familiar of the Evil Eye, which he just gets an effect that basically helps you to protect a spell or trap on the field, and he also allows you to just get an extra summon onto the field from the graveyard, which is really nice because if you're trying to do some link climbing, he's really, really good for that. Then we're just playing 2 copies of Ash Blossom. This list is going to be very, very similar to my last one. So with the Ash Blossoms, it is just nice to be able to have this to stop your opponent from using like something like Anaconda, and so you can stop a search or a dump to graveyard or whatever it is. Whatever your opponent's biggest play is, that's what you want to save this for. If you're going second especially. Then we're going to be going into our 2 copies of the Evil Eye of Celine. And so if you guys have seen any Evil Eye deck profiles or you've played around with the deck, you know that this card is the pivotal point of the deck because with this card, when you're equipped to an Evil Eye monster, it can't be destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effects, and then also your opponent can't target it with card effects, so this just adds so much great protection. It's really cool because your opponent will try to crash into your monster to just blow it up by battle. Doesn't work. They try to use a card effect to destroy it. Doesn't work. They try to target it to bounce to hand or something. Again, does not work, which is really crazy. So then you're just trying to protect your equip spell at all costs, which is like a really, really big part of the deck. You guys will see in the theming of the deck later. But then also, whenever you use the Equip Monsters effect, or you activate another effect or a spell or trap card with Evil Eye in its name, then you have to pay 500 life points, but then the monster ends up increasing its attack by 500. So the really crazy thing with this is that if you use Serzial's effect to blow up your opponent's monster, you lose 500 life points, it gains 500 attack. But then when that standby phase comes around and you have to destroy a card that you control, you blow up that card, and then this effect technically activates to do that, and then you end up paying another 500, and your monsters just keep getting super, super duper big. So this is a really cool control archetype, which ends up actually being able to go for damage by just basic attacks, which is really, really cool. I really like that, how basic it is. Then we're going to go into our 2 copies of Evil Eye Organelle. I already kind of explained this, but this is the equip spell, which allows you to increase the attack of your monster by the difference in your opponent's life points, as long as your opponent's life points are higher. But the other really good thing about this is that if this card is in the graveyard, you're able to actually pitch an Evil Eye card to the graveyard in order to, you banish this card, pitch an Evil Eye card, and then you're able to add an Evil Eye spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So you basically can use this card to pitch something, you get your equip or your field spell, and then the field spell lets you search for your Serzial, and then all of your plays are online as long as you can get this into the graveyard, which we have a couple ways to do that now. And then also, I forgot to mention, there is a graveyard effect with Celine with if you can banish another Evil Eye spell or trap from the graveyard, then you're able to actually put this back to your field by paying 1,000 life points. And all of these life point costs are totally fine because, again, you pay 1,000 for this and you pay 500 every time this effect activates for the other effect, and then you just equip Organelle and punch your opponent right in the face, and it feels so good. Then we're going to get on into our 3 copies of Evil Eye Domain Pareidolia. This card is so good because it lets you search for an Evil Eye monster on activation. Also, when this card is destroyed, you get an Evil Eye monster back from your graveyard to your hand, which doesn't come up too often. You'll actually be surprised because mainly you'll just end up summoning Serzial, and then that'll be the only thing in your graveyard. And then you can also, this has another effect that while you have Evil Eye of Celine on the field and your opponent is going to deal battle damage to you, you can actually make your opponent take the battle damage with you, which is really crazy. I've won a lot of games with this card, especially on Master Duel. If you guys have not played, this deck is on Master Duel, and it's actually really easy to put together on Master Duel. I still have not spent any money. If you guys need any tips on how to put this deck together on Master Duel, definitely go ahead and check it out in the comment section. You guys can ask me. But with this card, I just won a game last night where my opponent had like 2,500 life points. He attacked me with like with the Eldritch monster, Eldritch the Golden Lord, and he was all souped up, and I only had the Evil Eye of Celine equipped to the Catoblepass, who only has, or the Basilius, who only has 400 attack. He ended up attacking, and then he took a whole bunch of damage and actually lost the game, which is really, really cool. So this card is just all around really, really good for the deck. We have 1 copy of Evil Eye Repose. This card helps getting around stuff like Dragoon. 1 copy of Awakening, basically the Monster Reborn for the deck. 1 copy of Evil Eye Confrontation, which is like the MST, which is really cool. And then these 2 cards also gain bonus effects if you have Celine on the field, which is really cool, because this lets you summon from the deck. And then also Evil Eye Confrontation, if you end up destroying your opponent's spell or trap card, it also banishes it as long as you have the Evil Eye of Celine on the field, which is really cool. Just that they get those little bonus effects as long as you have like your engine really going. Then we're going on into 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. This card is super duper good for the deck and super free because we don't care about the extra deck too much except for our Gorgon. Gorgon is usually actually pretty pivotal, but as long as we play our 3 copies, we're usually pretty fine. And then the next best pot card that we could possibly play, I added this in on my next list, or my last list, and it is just so good. I'm so happy with it. Pot of Duality is really nice in here because with this deck, you rarely ever actually special summon, or with this particular build. So you're basically just trying to get to Pot of Duality so you can find whatever piece of your engine you're missing, and then go into your Serzial, normal summon Serzial, and then you're just totally fine. You just sit on everything else. And then if you don't see Pot of Duality, You can usually extend your plays a little bit and then go into something like Gorgon or the other Link monster that we have. 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This is probably the biggest change since my last list. These were Dark Ruler No Mores, but as long as you guys have the budget for it, Forbidden Droplet is really nice because we can actually pitch stuff like the Evil Eye Gorgoneo, get that into the graveyard, and then we can get off a search if we're missing something. So if your opponent has something like Borreload Savage Dragon, go ahead and negate the Savage Dragon by pitching, Gorgoneo and maybe something else or whatever, or you just get off that one interruption. Then the Gorgoneo is in the graveyard, and then you can search for your field spell, and then your whole engine is back online. Again, speaking of the field spell, we have 1 copy of Terraforming for that. 1 copy of Call by the Grave, and now the newest addition to the deck is 1 copy of Twin Twister. So we do have the Evil Eye Confrontation in here to deal with spells and traps, but you do need to have an Evil Eye monster on the field for that. And then since Skill Drain is out into the game, and there's just a whole bunch of other good, traps and stuff out there, Twin Twister is really, really nice. Especially if your opponent is also going to set something like a Scythe and you end up going first. There's just a lot of interactions where Twin Twister is really, really nice, so I thought that it was fine. And again, this just helps you to fuel your graveyard. You can pitch the Katabla Pass with this, or you can pitch your Gorgoneo. I was even thinking of increasing Gorgoneo to 3 copies, but I just could not find the space for it. But yeah, I actually have been playing with 3 copies over on Master Duel, and I've really, really been liking it for those grindier duels. Then we're getting on into the traps. We have our 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Again, just trying to help negate our opponent's stuff on their turn. 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison, which is just also super duper nice. And then since we're playing these traps, we're playing 2 copies of Trap Trick, just so we can make sure that we see them often enough. And then another good Trap Trick target is our 2 copies of Evil Eye of Defeat, which again is really nice because it gains a bonus effect, just like the other spell cards, where if you have the Evil Eye Gorgoneo on the field, or Evil Eye of Celine, you're able to bounce 2 cards to your opponent's hand. Otherwise, normally this just bounces 1 card. Then we're getting on into our 2 copies of Evil Eye Retribution, the counter trap for the deck, and then 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. I've already explained this before in my other videos, but basically I play the 2 Retribution because you want to end up seeing one of those in your opening hand, or the Judgment. And if you don't see Judgment, but you open up with like your Serzial and then 1 copy of your Celine, if this is in your opening hand, then when you summon Serzial, then you just search for your Evil Eye Retribution, and now you have a monster disruption, you have protection, and then you have a counter trap to stop if your opponent's going to play like Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm or something. Then the Evil Eye Retribution is going to save you there. So that's just kind of how my routes of my plays always go. So that's enough explanation in the 40 card main deck. Let's get on into the extra deck. So for the extra, we are playing our 3 copies of the Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eye. If you guys are playing the Starlight rares, your opponent cannot imperm you or do anything like that, or any form of disruption does not work on this card. That's a lie. But with this card, when it is equipped with the Evil Eye of Celine, it's really nice because it's basically kind of like an Appaloosa, where you're able to get a monster negate on the field, and then also during the next standby phase, after this effect is activated, whatever this is pointing to, you can destroy 1 monster on the field, or it's actually mandatory, so you have to destroy 1 monster on the field. So if your opponent is actually stupid enough to put a monster right here in the zone above it, then you're able to blow that up. So in general, you just don't want to end up summoning to this zone, but generally when I'm summoning, I end up putting Gorgon up here into the extra monster zone, and then I put Serzial right here so that he's always safe. You just kind of want to get into the habit of always doing that. Then we're going to go on into our 3 copies of Serzial. You just also want to play this to be able to max out on your Evil Eyes, because we are playing the extravagance once again. With this card, it needs 2 Evil Eye monsters to summon and all that stuff, and it's kind of like Serzial, where he ends up being able to blow up a card on the field, but instead of just blowing up a monster, he's able to blow up a 1 card on the field per turn when he's equipped with the Evil Eye of Celine. And then also, if you link summon him with Gorgon while its attack is increased up to 2600 attack, then you're able to actually attack with him twice. in the battle phase, which is really crazy, because if you end up souping him with the Evil Eye of Celine or Organelle, and he ends up having like 5,000 attack and can attack twice, that can get really, really lethal. We're going to get on into then 2 copies of IP Masquerena, just to make sure that we have extra follow-up plays, 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus, and 2 Nightmare Phoenix, and then also to finish off, we have, for the package, we have our 2 copies of Nightmare Unicorn, so we have a pretty nice looking Nightmare package, 1 copy of Unchained Abomination, and then 1 copy of Mech Knight Crusade Avramax. These are just nice little options to go into, especially if you have the IP Masquerena. Go into Mech Knight Crusade Avramax, and then you have a little bit of protection right there. But, guys, I think that's going to do it for this Evil Eye deck profile. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I think that it was absolutely worth it to bling out this deck finally and get all 3 of the Starlights of the Gorgon. I was super duper happy when these came in. They look super duper beautiful. Love this card so much. If you guys enjoyed this deck profile, again, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on the Patreon. A really big opening going up tomorrow or Saturday, or yeah, going up Saturday. So make sure to tune in for that if you guys want to. And we will catch you guys next time. Peace.